Check the stats, check the numbers, check the script. The game stay rigged and the timeline get flipped. UFOs in the sky, the cipher locking in. Peel back the veil, let the truth seeking begin. Roll with me.
I'll tell you what they told me recently was, and I put this in writing to the Pentagon in 2012 when I told this, okay? One thing she told me was, when you see Iran and Israel exchanging missiles, and I saw it, the way she tells me is a vision of, I see it like a living picture screen. I could see the rockets flying. Then all of a sudden, orbs appeared out of the ocean and everywhere. And I told the government, that's, if this happens, the orb's going to appear and wake people up and stop it. That's what she told me. It was this April date.
April 2026.
Yeah.
And okay, you know you've put yourself in it there, Chris.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's going to be, Chris Bledsoe says April 2026 is when it all happens.
But I can tell you this, when I told this to the government about 2026, I just repeated what she told me. They immediately put remote viewers on it. And all of a sudden, all the remote viewers are saying, oh my God, 2026, 2027, something is going to happen. We don't know what, but something.
The more I look into this prediction for Easter Sunday, the more interesting it gets. Let me tell you about it. A couple days ago, I made a video about this man, Chris Bledsoe. He was abducted by extraterrestrials in 2007. Then later he had a vision of an event that would happen on Easter Sunday, 2026, a week from now. By the way, he first talked about that vision in public in 2012. Anyway, he was told in the vision that on Easter Sunday 2026, a bright red star would be above the Sphinx in Egypt. And that would be the sign that aliens, extraterrestrials, are going to announce themselves to the people of the earth. Now remember, he said this in 2012, that during this time there would be a war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. That orbs would rise out of the ocean and people of the world would see this. But there's something else about this story that just clicked to me. The Space Force logo that was made years ago. Do you know what it looks like? This is it, the United States Space Force logo. Look at that for a second. It's the Sphinx with a star over its head. A giant star over the Sphinx. Yeah, just like the story Chris Bledsoe said in 2012, way before Space Force was even a thing. So why is the Space Force logo almost exactly like his story? Coincidence, or did they know something too? I guess we'll all find out on Easter, which is about a week away. Shabadoo Bushkis! Shabadoo!
Llegó el Pal Norte, miren. La esfera de no sé qué, miren, o sea.
Pero ponle la musiquita.
Sí, te la voy a poner. Ahí va. Ahí arriba. La esfera de U, o algo así se llamaba, no sé.
Se ve como raro.
¿Dónde está? Eso me perdió. Ah, ya la vi. Sí, se ve rara, sí parece un ovni.
¿Te digo? ¿Sí se lo va a creer?
Pues mierda.
Right above our TV station or within sight of our TV station. And again, a lot of people have been talking about this. Our phones started ringing off the hook just about 30 minutes ago. We've gotten some emails, and this object appears to be traveling east and has moved into Jackson County. You're looking live at this silver orb in the sky.
nos
Bueno, ustedes dicen algo.
¿Vieron el plan de Stranger Things? Sí, lo vimos. Y bueno, como el planeta rojo viene y...
We saw a person in the sky. In Michigan, we saw a pyramid. What is this in China? Okay, y'all, so they told us that the beings, the alien, the extraterrestrials were coming in a few weeks, and they might be early, y'all. And China is its first stop, because what is this in the skies of China, y'all? Look at this. And then y'all see this? Hold on. What is this? I saw this thing look like it was running on the clouds. Look at that, y'all. Look. What is this? It's running on the clouds, right? Look at this. What is that, y'all? And then it looks like it jumps out and flies. What? And then it pulls back. What is that? But this, y'all, what is going on? Y'all see this? Hold on. So as I was playing with the video, zooming in and out, I also saw this entity on this thing. What first of all, what is this, y'all? This thing is glowing up in the sky like a chariot. Is that a mothership? Is that it looks like some type of golden mothership, right? They've been talking about the golden age. I don't know if it's the light that's obfuscating off of it, but it looks like some type of golden mothership. So yes, can somebody tell?
CERN, they've used their collider to open up a portal to communicate with extraterrestrial beings.
Well,
And one of them are the occupants from 3i Atlas.
To be clear, CERN already has a room and a technology to open a portal to talk to extraterrestrials.
Yes.
But recently, they also used it to communicate with the beings on 3i Atlas.
That's correct.
Okay, go
on. So those beings introduced themselves as such, like so we are the occupants of this object, and they did not show up physically. They show up as holograms. Now, they apparently showed up as holograms. They look tall, that's what she said, and they communicated telepathically with every single scientist in the room.
Wow.
And they all got the same message, which is that they are coming in peace and are just trying to come over here to gather all the star seeds of this planet.
So when you remote viewed, did you pick up on that intention as well?
Yes.
They tell us the truth in plain sight.
Smile I've ever seen out of Mark Zuckerberg.
So the song Shake It Off was about how I shed my skin every 1,000 years. And the song Bad Blood was about how I drink blood out of my Grammys.
A toast to blood! Save some blood for Paul Rudd.
Begins at the dawn of history. The birth of the very first society begat the need for the very first secret society. A fraction of early humans were born smarter than their fellow cavemen. And if they would not listen to reason, perhaps they would listen to a higher power. And thus, the Order of the Black Robes was born.
Operating from the shadows using secret knowledge, we and our descendants kept watch over all of human history.
Well, not to point out the obvious, but
NASA accidentally captured a UFO as they were live streaming from the ISS for all the world to see. Now this has to be the first UFO that we've seen in outer space. This video has just come out and I don't even think NASA noticed it when it was happening. But people that were watching the stream captured this video of a UFO. So we had to zoom in to be able to see it, but as you can see there's this little dot that's moving across the screen. Now people will tell you it's probably just a satellite, but just watch the way that it moves. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So this is just a few seconds later, and as you can see, the UFO is going to start moving up and then over. And I don't think a satellite would necessarily do that. Here's a sped up version so that you can see its path and how it moves, because it's definitely not natural movement. And here's a zoomed in shot of what we're looking at. This is what we were just seeing move across the screen. Brother, that is not a satellite. So could this possibly be our first actual, for real UFO sighting? Let me know in the comments what you guys think.
And I killed 2 of them. Yes, they're mortal and they do die. However, in the process, one of them did this. All I remember is that he just kind of waved his hand in front of his chest, and the next thing I know, this blue beam hit me and just literally opened me up like a fish. And burnt my fingers right off of me. And it was some form of electrical force, because the kind of like being hit by a lightning bolt, burned all my toenails off of me, completely crispy crittered my left foot, burnt the shoe right off of me. All I remember is the smoking remains, and I'm still conscious, but in and out of, I didn't remember much. And there was a Green Beret that was right behind me that risked his life. In fact, he died. But he risked his life. He shoved me back in the basket and hit the button and took me up. And I wouldn't be alive talking to you today if it wasn't for him. I'm forever indebted. He lost his life. 66 Secret Service agents, Green Berets, Black Berets, crack troops lost their lives because the government, our United States government, lied, did not tell us anything about the alien threat. There's a war underneath there, and I'm talking dead serious. It's been going on since that time. Since late August of 1979, our military, the Russian military, basically the militaries of the world, have been in constant conflict with the outer space alien.
The Schneider family came from Russia in the late 1800s and were Jewish, and the family was deeply hurt when Phil lied and said his father was a German U-boat commander during World War II, when in reality, his father was a medical officer in the U.S. Navy. And if you're asking if there is anything in that file cabinet that does a better job of backing up his claims, there is. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's tackle another elephant in the room. Nobody in the Dulcie War fan club can agree on what actually happened. We talked about Phil's version earlier. He's sent down into a tunnel they've been working on to find out what's wrecking their machines, only to find out that they had drilled into a natural cavern inhabited by aliens who didn't take kindly to the intrusion and started shooting. However, there are two other versions of the story. One comes from a guy named John Lear. If that name sounds familiar, it's because his dad invented the Lear jet. According to John, there were 44 scientists in an underground auditorium listening to a presentation being given by a Gray. At some point during the presentation, a Delta Force guy, acting as a security guard, walks in the door with a sidearm. He didn't point it. Apparently, just the act of having the ammo in the gun in its holster is a do not pass go kind of infraction for the Grays, and they kill him instantly. The rest of the Delta Force guys see this execution and immediately swarm in for retaliation. But they are outgunned. By the time the smoke clears, 22 Delta Force soldiers and all of the 44 scientists are dead. So according to John, it wasn't a war as much as it was an accident. Thomas Costello, a whistleblower who worked as a security guard at Dulcie Base and writer of what has become known as the Dulcie Papers, which is a collection of photos, a video, and schematic drawings of the base layout, talked about the altercation a year later in an interview. According to him, a growing number of humans and some sympathetic aliens were just done with the way things were being run at the base. Things like abducted humans being held in cages, human-alien crossbreeding gone wrong, and increasing alien control. This led to the formation of a resistance group that waged an assault that ended poorly for them, with about the same amount of people being killed as in the other stories. One difference is that Tom says about a dozen people escaped and immediately went into hiding. Well, so which one is it? I realize that the outcomes are almost the same across all three stories, but the stories themselves are pretty different. Which one are we supposed to believe? But before you start calling me out for calling them out, let's look at a couple of reasons that, to me, give me some reasons to think that the story might actually be true. First of all, we know something weird is happening in the area. Northern New Mexico and southern Colorado are ground zero for the cattle mutilation phenomena. They started in earnest in the 1960s around Alamosa, Colorado, but by the mid-70s, the epicenter shifted right into the area just north of Dulce called the Archuleta Mesa, right on the New Mexico-Colorado border. That's a real thing that's been well documented over the years. And I realize it's just circumstantial, but it's very convenient that that's all happening so close to where the base is supposed to be. And Norio Hayakawa, whom we mentioned earlier, is a UFO researcher who has been actively investigating claims exclusively in the southwest of the United States, including those of a base at Dulce, for over 50 years. He's made his entire career out of weird things happening there. So I think it's safe to say that we know something is up in that area.